more
A
high-strung.
novice and drives, I'll use
So
this.
I have to really work hard to get his
You
heart
ever
rate
get
down.
one?
Who's a good competitive? Marty is. I'm not a great competitive person, but I'll tell you that my first ride on him, I did a competitive trail ride, and we came into camp on our hold, and he somehow slipped his bridle, and he went galloping all over camp before I had to take my pulse and respiration. It was, remember that? Do you want to do circles with him?
Here we have Nicole,
Yeah, you can do it.
she was actually a track star in college, she can run. Okay, star is a little overrated.
Okay, we just,
We'll have our vet go over it first.
yeah.
So you're telling me he's not a 9-2 competitive horse?
No. He's a 5-hour 50 horse, though.
Okay, so yeah, he makes up for it.
Okay. Again, we're going to do a pre-check. And it's hard to get a good scribe. Stays with you all day.
It's hard to find good help.
Yeah, let's do that because his main's on the other side. Okay, we're going to go through the same thing.
All right, stop.
Same thing.
They're just not equal. I don't remember. That's mine.
Same thing.
And this is the sheet that you'll be given when you turn in your entry form. They will give you this sheet, and part of it will be filled out with your name and your weight and that.
So, like, I'll be coming by myself, so they hand me this sheet, what do I do with it?
Hold it.
They go to the trail with me?
No, you don't take it on the trail. This is just, but that's a good question. When you get to camp, you'll leave your horse at the trailer, you'll go turn in your entry form. They'll hand you this sheet, okay? Then you go back and get your horse and take the sheet and the horse up to our vet.
Okay.
And then the vet will write all this in, which we'll go over, and then you leave it with the vet.
Now, the LD and endurance cards you normally take with you.
That's
but
right.
The competitive ones you leave with the vet.
That's correct. But sometimes
Sometimes you have no.
you have to listen, they'll tell you what to do with these once they're filled out. But these do not go out on the trail with you, ever. Sometimes the LD and endurance sheets go on the trail with you, and you keep them in a little packet on your saddle. Or in your pocket, or whatever. Okay, now we're with our vet again.
So 8-4.
8-4.
Yay.
Okay, we did the same thing as we did with the LD.
So he would get 0 points.
Also, the purpose of the pre-ride exam is to establish a baseline for the rest of the ride. The scoring that they're doing now before the ride is not count against you, but it's to give the vet an idea of what your horse looks like beforehand so we can judge it afterwards and judge accordingly.
So if your horse always had quiet gut sounds, then
Yeah.
it's not abnormal when he comes in later.
I'm going to say, if he'll stand still,
If you want to
he's
come
got good
and
gut
listen,
sounds. You
who
can hear what gut sounds sound
would
like.
like to hear gut sounds that hasn't heard them?
Yeah, come on.
Come on over here and we'll see.
I'll get it.
Find a secret to
Make an 8-stand.
We would want to make sure that's marked so they knew he started with it, because if he were to end with that, you would lose points. In competitive, you're losing points all day long. You start out on a high note.
Yeah, unless you're riding Meg.
That's right. That's
Perfect
right.
is
So
400
that's also, they're going to pick up the leg, look at that. They're going to look for marks here. And the vet will usually ask you, do you have any marks you want to declare? So if they miss something, make sure. If you've got something like a rub where you had boots or something, and you know that scab is going to open, it's going to look like pink skin, make sure they see that, so they know it's old. because some of those do ink
I
them
a lot
out.
of times will tell them, my horses have a lot of fun together, bite marks. Yeah. So there's what looks like a bite mark right here. Yeah, that's a bite mark, it's going to use that'll lose.
Right, right.
But
So
you don't,
they'll do the same thing.
so like on the, like I talked about on the standard breds, you wouldn't necessarily have to go through each of their tendon, where they've been freeze.
Pinfire?
That would be
Pinfire.
old,
Yeah.
like their pin
I
tie
mean,
marks
right,
and
I mean,
stuff.
you're not gonna get that out on.
They're just gonna write
No, they
pinfired
know
or something
that
like
they-
that on there.
They pretty much want to see fresh, or like I said, anything that's going to have a scab come off, it's going to change.
Or any fill, you know, like Nitro, he's got fill in the back. I mean, he's an older endurance horse,
what
that
he
just
has.
happens. So if you start out,
You have
then you have, like, Ace doesn't really have any, but just make, you want the vet to see that, so you can start out with fill, so that you're not getting points off.
See,
Unless you
right,
get,
this part of here, it has pain, heat, and fill, right, left front, right front, you know. And they have a pre-ride and a post-ride, and that's where the vet fills that in for each leg.
And then when we're also talking about points, there's a boot rule for competitive. In endurance, you can wear splint boots or whatever boots on your horse, but for competitive, you are penalized 2 points per boot. So if you have a horse that brushes in the back fetlocks, put one boot on if they only brush on one side, and then you're only losing 2 points. Or if you got to put 2 boots on, you're losing 4 points, and so on. The easy boot gloves, what was the decision with the easy boot gloves?
They're okay.
They're okay.
So as long
Okay.
as the leaders are connected to the whole thing,
oh
they're
yeah,
not
but
just-
let's not get into that.
Yeah.
But as long as for the purpose of hoof protection.
Easy boots
Yeah.
are okay.
But if you know that, are you better off to take those 2 points?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
oh, absolutely. It's better to get 2 points for a boot than 4 points for a, you know.
Or worse yet,
Oh,
being grade 3 leg.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, she was explaining these. Yes. Summarize what you guys just talked about with her question. Can. One way, they're going to have you go out, straight out, go to the far side of where your circle's going to be. I like to stop the horse, get him positioned. You're going to trot a nice, big, round circle. Okay? I'm going to tell you a secret. Bigger the circle, the better. Okay?
They don't take.
Doesn't work for my knees, I'm gonna tell you that. But the bigger the circle, the better.
They don't
Because,
take my respiratory rate, right?
no, and I've been told to go sit down, trust me. Because if,
Part of the ride.
this is the worst part, yeah. Because if you do a little bitty circle here, what are you doing? You're making him cramp and turn, and he could look lame, and he's not. Okay, so make a nice round circle and come around. A nice way to do it, again, is to stop, turn your horse around. You can switch to the inside of the circle, which I highly recommend. Otherwise, you're on the outside of your circle, okay? And life becomes real miserable then. So get used to your horse trotting with you on the off side. Again, you're going to make your circle. You're going to come around, stop, get in position. And when I say this, stop, don't take a lot of time, okay? Because we've got horses to move through.
And you also have vets like Wes who might take a point off for fatigue at the end. Yes.
It's just a matter of, stopping, getting control, turning here, and being ready to go. And your horse lines up. And then you're going to come back to your vet and stop. Okay. Some of them will ask for a figure 8. So you've got to think about where you're going and what kind of space you've got. So you're going to go down. On those, it's probably just as easy to just keep on going. Come back to your center. Come around. In here, you can do a quick switch so you're on the inside. This, you've got to stop and turn around and come back down. So be prepared to do either one, a figure 8. It just kind of depends on what kind of room we've got and the preference of the vet. Again, there's no lunging. You can't lunge your horse. No hazing, especially in comp. They don't want anybody getting behind, shushing the horse or anything, because they're judging also fatigue, willingness, and things like that. So he has to stay with you and be willing to do this.
Is that what you mean by hazing? What is it?
That's hazing. Someone comes up behind you and, makes noise or claps at him or,
Are you allowed to do that since you're the one with the horse? There's
Nope.
nobody else behind you? You can't even
This is a
cluck to
silent
him?
motion?
You can come to him, yeah, but you have to stay up by the shoulder. And the end of a lead rope will come out once in a while. That's not a big deal. You can't carry your whip though. But I can't come up behind you and push your horse. Now, some horses that just aren't going to, and the vet really wants to see movement on him, the management will do, or the vet will say, somebody make him try, okay? Because they just want to make sure they know the horse is just green, okay? But to make it a practice for you to have somebody get your horse to trot that way, you can't do that. Also, you can't have buddy horses. I don't know if we touched on that at all. Your horse has to be able to leave the trailer, leave his buddy at the trailer if you come with another one, and go up and do this by himself. Someone cannot bring him up and just standing here to keep everything calm. Okay, so sometimes that's a problem because they really buddy up and they fuss and stuff and they go away. But so are there any questions about the trot-outs for competitive? You'll always do circles in competitive.
And the other reason it's good to learn circles is in LD and endurance, if you stand for BC, best condition at the end, you have to do the same kind of trotting out.
That's the
So it's
pattern
good
you
to
have
learn
do.
it anyway.
Yeah, it's good training. It's really good to be able to present your horse that
Yeah,
way.
yeah. So we'll have Nicole go ahead and do one for us here. Let's do a circle first. Just go down and do a circle, reverse, and then come back down. Okay. See, his ears are up. He's looking around. See, he just took a moment there. He's looking. Banner, no. No fatigue. Very willing.
That's about the size you would do if you could.
Yeah, if you could, that's a nice size. Yeah,
It really does help to be on the inside.
it really does. And Michelle, why don't you do that?
And that's really typical for a horse to act like that when they're feeling good. That's not, this is making me feel like I'm
And when you come back, don't be in front of your horse. Make sure you're always at the side so they can see what the horse looks like when he's coming back. Do you want to try figure eight?
Would you like make canter figure eight?
I kind of like pirouettes, Michelle.
A little small, maybe a small one because you might not be able to keep up. We'll test you on the outside. Test my speed skills.
Notice I'm not running? He feels real good. Boy. See, her lead is free and it's swinging. Again, so he can move his head and do what he wants with it. And that keeps his whole body loose. Because they're also going to be watching his back to see if he's got movement in his back or if he's really tense in his back. They're going to be watching his hips to see if he's got any cramping. Excellent. Good job. Good day. So that was a perfectly fine trot out. And that's pretty typical at the beginning for these horses that know what they're going to be doing. And they know it'll be different at the end. But the horses that have been there and they know what's up, that's not untypical at all. So, any questions or anything? Anybody have anything else to add? What's that? Thanks.
What, tell them the next step.